One too.
There we go. Now we're live. Hey, everybody who's watching us live.
And
phone
everything looks
sound
good on the recordings here.
off.
No, I'm not upgrading it right now.
You should always do your Windows updates.
I did, but some of these machines don't get turned on until we do the show.
Yeah, I just started mine. I'll have to reboot halfway through.
Nice. The ice cream person already came through, so we're good there.
I was wondering.
Yep. Nope. Already done.
Ooh,
All right.
I'm gonna have to mute myself when I cough today. Although the recordings are
trying to think of what I did over the last week.
What got put off tonight? You say deployment.
Yeah, there was a big Office 365 deployment, and it's just I guess that's one of the things we did. I deployed a couple computers. Just a lot of paperwork. This week was a lot of paperwork to get things done. I'm leaving on Thursday. It makes me nervous to get out of town, but just because I won't be in town.
You have to get your partner to fill in for you.
Well, Who would that?
All I hear is, I'm getting somebody. I'm getting somebody.
Well, I was supposed to meet with him 2 weeks ago, or a week ago, and so I'm meeting with him tomorrow. That's the plan.
Oh, good.
So we'll see what happens.
Shoot, the only time I'm getting out of town is when my paperwork doesn't get done.
Paperwork's not done, and
It doesn't work out.
I can see you interviewing this guy, Mark. Did you ever hear that one that Mike Smith did a mock interview thing on one of his shows? I think he had Carrie Holzman. You need to know how to hire somebody. You should. Can't remember what episode that was.
Well, this guy's really smart. So we'll see. I think he's just really smart in probably another aspect of the company. So I have a feeling he may not work out for what I need him for right away, but we'll see. It doesn't hurt to. I have to start somewhere.
Can you answer emails?
Well, yeah, but it's
I need a little more than that.
Perhaps you'd better start from the beginning.
All right.
Perhaps you'd better start from the beginning.
I am ready when you guys are.
Yeah, I'm everything. You can go. I got.
You got everything going? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome to Geeksters episode 152. This is a show where we talk about all things computer related, just kind of the life of a tech and how, what is it that we do on a weekly basis? How is it that we manage to stay sane? How is it that we manage not to drive ourselves off of a cliff when we see it coming at us? That's why we come on here. We come on here to talk, to vent, to just be. My name is Martin Obando. I'm one of the hosts here. And we're having a good week. So looking forward to talking with you guys again, talking with Mitch and Tim. We're all here. We no more just the two of us song. We got to come up with there's the Three Amigos. There it is, the Three Amigos song. So now that's in everybody's head. I'm going to start introducing my co-hosts. Hey guys, how's it going?
Better.
It's nice to see you, Mitch. We were worried about you last week.
Well, I had some issues with my dog, and
but everything's good, right? Nothing.
Knock on wood. I had the stupid cold for almost 2 weeks, and it's getting better, but I'm still yakking here and there.
Kind of like that.
Yeah, except that wasn't me.
Wasn't me.
What?
Is it the ghost?
Who was it?
Oh, don't say that around Martin. He don't like ghosts.
I don't know. Some ghosts are scary.
I'd give anything to meet one.
Like.
Give anything?
I'm not scared. I want to meet one.
You want to meet a clown ghost?
I want to get the Long Island medium. I'm going to expose her.
Wait.
No, I'm not getting into that.
Anyways, hey Tim, how's it going?
It's all right. Whatever. You know what? Actually, the whole thing of clowns, I can't believe I'm dying. I just remembered this. I saw the funniest thing. This would have been like the funniest thing if I got to picture this. I wanted to go back and I forgot about it. But I was driving past the McDonald's in one of the towns here locally, and laying on the ground in the crosswalk in front of the McDonald's. Well, I swear this is the honest goodness truth. There was a mitten that was like, it was red and yellow stripes, and I thought, I just wanted to I wanted to run in there and just yell, "Has anybody seen Ronald?"
His hands are cold. His hands are cold.
Something bad happened to Ronald when he lost one mitten out in the street in the crosswalk. I'm just imagining something very, very bad happening, and why I didn't turn around right then and get that and take a picture of that, I don't know. But anyway,
I can see all the people turning back, looking at you after you scream that.
That's well, yeah, and then I would just run right back, and then I'd be like, "My name's Martin Abando," and I just run right back out of the.
No.
Oh my God.
I don't want to be associated with the cartel.
I'm like
cartel's Ronald McDonald hijacking.
One clown I don't have to worry about anymore.
That's right.
Martin Abando.
One down, many to go. Pennywise, you better watch yourself.
Oh man. So anyway, I'm doing better than the Ronald McDonald figment of my imagination. I just thought that was pretty fantastic. You know, and there's something sad about a lost mitten.
Yeah.
It's
There's
never,
a book about a lost mitten.
Never to be reunited with its mate.
I lose a lot of them.
I'm good at losing things.
Yeah, because I use them in the warehouse at work, and I'm constantly losing them.
Yeah, but I bet. See, I'm thinking your gloves. They're kind of like the gloves that I have here at the house, where it's like I could end up with like. Well, I don't. It's not like I can. I do. I end up with 15 lefts, but they're all like just shop gloves. So you know, I just make it work. It's not like I'm wearing one that's striped red and yellow, and other ones, you know, yeah, it's obvious that I'm just not getting it together here.
One's from Ronald McDonald. One's from Mickey Mouse. Let's see how this is going.
Making gang signs. Yo, watch out, Bird King.
I don't think the king wears the gloves.
Don't make me laugh. I'll go with that big call.
He doesn't anymore.
He'll wear what I want him to wear.
That's right. So, well, how about you, Martin? How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I'm doing good. It was a good week. I had a couple big projects. Originally, we had talked earlier, and we thought about wasn't going to be able to do the show tonight, and we're trying to plan out an Office 365 or an Outlook hosted Exchange migration. The good part of it is that we are not going to be using the old emails, so the old emails are going to stay on POP. We just need to deploy and set up the new emails, which makes mail records really easy to transpose. We don't need to worry about a lot of that stuff. But the bad part is that it's 12 different sites all over the place. 35 people. So it's a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of energy. And it's actually 3 different domains that we're transferring. So we need to make sure that everybody's set up correctly, all their data gets moved correctly. So it's a fairly big project, and the gentleman that I'm going to be working with to get this done, who works for the company. Over the weekend, we were talking back and forth and hoping to get some stuff laid out. And then one of the sites, they had a major pipe break and flooded the first floor of a complex.
Plumbing, then.
Yeah, huge plumbing.
Actual infrastructure, not.
I know what that's like.
Not figurative.
So I couldn't get all the information I needed to from him. So yesterday I got home and I was kind of debating whether or not I was still going to go today. Do I go and get part of it done, but not all of it, because I don't have all the information? And about 8 o'clock this morning, I just said, okay, we don't have all the information. Let's postpone it. And he said not a problem. He was going to be back on site where he was working to try to resolve some of the issues with the water. And he'll still be there tomorrow, so we're going to get together tomorrow and try to figure it out. Probably push it back out too. It looks like for me, the next day that I'm going to be able to do it, I think is going to be like the 3rd. So a little more than a week, but that'll give me a chance to get everything done, squared away, have a written up plan that we're going to go by, and it's one or two people, it's pretty easy, but you're looking at 35 people, 3 different domains, their data. The same email account on multiple different machines because it's their apartment complexes or property management. So you may have 3 or 4 leasing agents, and they all need to look at the main email, plus they have their own email. So kind of a big project. But I'm glad that kind of put off today. I was able to go through my email and get quite a bit of stuff done. But it's been a good it's been a good week all around.
You seem very relaxed too, Martin, which you haven't been very relaxed.
No.
Today.
Saturday was really rough. I was pretty stressed out, and I said, that's it, I have to leave, and was really frustrated. We went on a nice 5-mile hike. The hike was pretty much straight up halfway there and straight down the other way. But it was nice. It was nice just to get out in the woods. And it was raining and muddy, and so my shoes are all muddy. I'm going to be buying some. I need to go get some hiking boots probably today or tomorrow.
Had I done that, you would have had to have a stretcher, or you had to use your old experience with me.
Well, yeah, it was slippery enough. We could just laid you down and said, just lean with it, Mitch.
Then I would slide all the way down.
Well, that's bingo.
Oh, I do well with the 2.5 miles down.
I can't. I'm better up than down. My knee is pretty shot, and so going down it hurts my knee.
Just tuck and roll.
Well, I guess I could do that. I roll quite well. It's tucking. I'm a little not as limber as I used to be. I don't tuck very well.
Yeah. No, it is. Yeah, anyway.
But yeah, I've had a good weekend as far as that goes. Phil,
it does sound nice. Yeah, it does sound nice.
Definitely relaxed. We've had on and off okay weather.
We're still waiting. We had 3 or 4 inches of snow. Was it Friday or Saturday? But it only stayed on or laid on the grass. But still, and it's cold today. I think it's in the 30s right now.
Wow.
I'm ready.
How are you guys?
It's not even notable. I mean, at 3-4 inches, I don't even remember events such as this. It's not. It's the winter never. I tell you what, my bulbs are out. I think I talked about that last week. I got bulbs starting up. So when my bulbs start up, I see green things popping up from the earth. I know we're just about there.
Well, and I've been having more and more meetings for softball. I'm on the board of directors, so the jerseys have been ordered. We got girls signed up for softball teams now. I'm signed up for my softball. It's time. It's time for the weather to just behave, let the sun come out, let the games play.
You don't get that many sunny days a year anyway, do you?
We've had a good winter. It's been a really mild winter. Sorry, guys.
It's all right. Mitch set you up.
It's been raining today. I know he did.
Don't even lie. I can look out your window. And you said the ice cream man came.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Last week. I did listen.
No, because the rain stopped. Ice Cream Man came out. Ice Cream Man shows up in the pouring down rain. If you don't like, it does rain here a lot, so you're gonna get wet.
It makes things nice and green. Hey, we're having softball practice, but they're in the gym.
See, we don't practice until we can go outside.
That's because you don't care about winning.
It's because I coach for a rec league, and we're not supposed to care about winning.
Now that you're on the board, you better fix that. Oh, rec league! Come on, what's more what recreation equals fun? Fun equals losing. Nope, not in my world. We come to annihilate.
We'll have to talk about that in another show because I'm this. Both the other coach and myself are the same way. Not that we're gonna go crazy, but we like to win. We like to get out there and train and have a good time. So. We're making some changes this year. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna have a good team this year. We have a player that came back from a couple years, and then her sister, who is a great pitcher. So between the sister, two sister pitcher catcher combo, and they are on fire.
Yeah. That's a good deal there, man.
Yeah.
Better hope their car didn't break down.
Well, and their mom's the coach, so.
Oh man.
And she played college softball. So she helped one of the girls who just can't hit. Terrible, just can't hit. So I was sitting there with all the girls and we were doing wiffle balls. I was just tossing 100 wiffle balls per kid to let them hit, right? And she probably swung at 20, just missed every single one.
You're talking about slow pitch softball, not fast pitch, correct?
Right, this is slow pitch, but I'm just tossing wiffle balls. I'm just putting them up so they can hit them. And she probably missed 20 or so. And then the coach came over, the girl coach, the new coach came over and said, "Here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna stand like this. You're gonna put your arms like this." She says, "This is uncomfortable." She says, "Trust me." The next 80 of them, she knocked all of them, slammed them into the fence. Didn't miss a one.
Wow.
So very excited about that. We're gonna have a good team this year. We're going all the way. We're taking it.
That's something that I think that illustrates I think it really illustrates something about human behavior, or the way that we deal with it, especially those who we manage, who are in our employ, who we're leaders of that. You have people that they just don't get it. They don't get it. It's like, why are they doing that? Why are they and they just you give them like a simple task, and it's like sometimes you just got to take a moment and look at it and try, and sometimes just turn a knob, just a one tick, and they put it all together. Sometimes that's all it is. Sometimes it's just looking, and I know it's easy to get frustrated, like this person's just, oh, they're making me crazy, but sometimes it's just, not approaching them as somebody that you have to manage, or somebody that you have to, oh, yeah, I hear this person again, but somebody that you're coaching, and you just look and you think, if there's just one little thing, and sometimes that's all it takes. Sometimes they just need to be cracked in the head with something big. But how many times have you seen that, Martin, where you have anybody here playing sports? It's like, it's in the mechanics, or just the basics, the fundamentals. So you just tweak something, the smallest thing, and boom, and then they're just killing it. And I think that there is a crossover there to people that you're working with, and or even I'm not just people that that are that you're over, but yourself too. That you're like, my gosh, I know how many times I've really struggled with some concept, just play years and years, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's just some little aha moment, and I get that one detail, and it clicks, and then boom, then I'm off the races.
Right. I like to. Usually when I talk to clients, they'll ask me a question, and usually it's regarding why is this here when this is like this, or something something obscure, and I usually try to come up with an analogy that either fits in their client. So I've got a client who is they sell and put together pumps, like I've maybe talked about them, for like koi ponds and waterfalls and stuff like that. And they're running out of room on their server. So what's happening is the WSUS file is pretty big, but that's just updates that the server pulls down so it can deploy out to computers, right? And so I was talking to him about, well, he says, well, don't we need those? Or we won't need those, right? And I said, well, we do. He says, but if our computers get updated, then they should go away. I'm like, well, yes, but then they stay, and because you need them again. And we do shrink them down, but it's just a matter of talking to him, because he's trying to put two and two together, and it didn't quite match up. He was always coming up with 3 or 6, or it just didn't work. And so I kind of had to think, well, how am I going to explain this to him, his layman's terms, or I'll talk to, what I love to do is talking about how I have to reboot servers, or we need to shut down something, and people kind of look at me, and they go, well, why would we need to do that? And I always like the one I said, it's kind of hard to change the tires on your car when you're driving it down the road. We have to stop the car. We got to do something, and they go, oh, that makes sense.
We can refuel this airplane, but you're going to spend military money.
Right.
We can refuel it in the air.
So.
But it's going to take military money. Yeah. The WSUS file, it's a recirculating file. It gets used again and again.
Yeah. So he's
much like a recirculating pump in a koi pond.
Right. So one of the options for this, So one of the options for this client is they're going to clean up some stuff. They need to clean up some data off their old machines, and we need to probably, well, at some point we'll probably have to buy them a new hard drive, because they're definitely running out of room.
So that's an issue. I mean, how big is that file?
It's I think this file is a little over 200 gigs. So
all right, okay, so that's a pretty chunky file.
It is a pretty good file.
All right.
On a 500 gig hard drive, that doesn't leave them a whole lot of room left.
Yeah. That's okay. All right. I could see why. That would probably draw the first questions.
Right. Well, I'm the one who put I'm the one who wrote I ran tree size free or something like that. It's a free file sizer. It tells you what's in every location and how big they are. And I wrote it out. I said, this is what's taking up the primary one, and then you have these ones, and these are, you got a lot of MP3s, and you have a lot of movies that your clients or your employees are just having on the server. Maybe we don't need those, so they don't get backed up. Maybe they can put them on their own machine. And that kind of started the conversation of, well, what's needed, what's not needed. And I mean, when we were at the server almost 3 years ago, is that's when that's when they were coming with 500 gig hard drives, and now they just throw terabyte drives in there. So they're just running out of room. Get that cleaned up. I was called into a client. I can't. Unfortunately, I forgot what I talked about last week. This client, what we did is I had to set up another wireless access point. We don't have access to the main router, so we did this in bridge mode, and it worked great. Put it in bridge mode, hooked up the computers locally to it, so now the computers are on a little local LAN, but yet they just talk to the wireless router. The wireless router just is in bridge mode to the other wireless router, which I don't have access to, and away they go. So that was good. We put in a little like WDR 3600, so it's a high-end, it's a medium-end TP-Link router. They are looking at moving, so I went ahead and probably purchased a little bit more than they needed for what they needed right now, but they will be moving, and then we'll have access to their own router, their own network, their own switch, and stuff like that. So this will get, I was thinking ahead, and this will get used later on into their new shop. Deployed a brand new laptop yesterday. Worked out great. The customer is so excited about it. She went from an old Core 2 Duo to a running Windows 7 to a nice i5, 8 gigs of RAM, a nice Dell, and just night and day difference, just to get everything up and running. And she's so excited about that.
Nice.
This happened yesterday. So love my GFI. Antivirus, managed all that kind of stuff. So yesterday I'm working here, and I get an email that says, virus was detected, and it's been quarantined. I said, okay, it happens all the time, but
right.
But this is a resident use computer in one of the agencies that I work for. So again, it's a property management company. People can they go to their homes, they can use a computer, or if they come into like the clubhouse, there's a computer that they can use. And it was flagged from this Clubhouse computer. And I thought, well, that's interesting. Let me go quickly take a look. So I use my Screen Connect and jump on there and take a look. Well, nothing's happening. So, and I go to do something else, and I forget to close it, and then all of a sudden the mouse starts moving around again. I'm like, okay. And so I noticed that somebody had plugged in their Samsung phone and was trying to root it from this computer.
Oh my gosh!
And they went to something.eu.ru site to get this stuff. I mean, I'm looking to see what this guy's doing. And he goes, and
I love anything that ends in .ru.
Right. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, well, now I'm gonna watch.
I am infected. .ru.
Right. So I'm gonna watch this for a little bit. It's not my job to really do this, but hey, it's open, and so I'm watching it. And they're running a standard user. They don't have administrative rights, so the administrative box pops up, and I see, dot. Nope, wrong password. Dot. Nope, wrong password. Dot.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm just watching this person try, and finally they give up. Okay, and then they start opening up the zip file. Bing! My little warning goes off again because it's it keeps grabbing whatever they're downloading. They right click and they try to edit an INI file. That's not working, and then for some reason I have no idea why they go to Google and they're looking at the source code of Google. Like I don't know what they're doing, but they hit F12 and IE. Yeah, I don't know. So they're hitting F12 and IE and they're highlighting like little sections of the snippets of the code behind the scenes, and I'm like, what? I don't know what you're doing. So I watched for about 5 minutes. I'm like, okay. So I go on the phone and I call the agency of the company. I said, hey, is Sylvia the boss there? No. Is the next person down? No. Okay. What about you? Where do you stand and all that? I said, hey, so here's what's going on, and I told them the story, and they okay, hold on, we'll go check it out. I got to put on hold, and the mouse is still moving around, and things are doing some stuff, and then all of a sudden, they get back on the phone. They said, yeah, there was some kid there, and he was just charging his phone, and he was using his laptop. I said, whatever. I said that's not even remotely correct. So so last night we go ahead and all I was doing was just.
Man, you know what? That was just such a great opportunity to really mess with somebody. You could have opened a little chat window that said, and you could have typed anything, made it look like a warning message, like confirm wipe entire phone. Yes, no.
Oh, that would have been fun. But so we were just pointing them to OpenDNS last night. Not doing any content. I mean, we were doing filtering, but letting OpenDNS filter it. We didn't log in and set up rules, and so I did that last night and got them all set back up with that. And but it was just one of those things where I have never seen somebody just try to just get around it. I know it happens, and I get flagged about it, but I happen to be in the right place at the right time. So
yeah, to actually watch it, that's fantastic.
No, I was just charging my phone. I said, no, you weren't. Go away. I don't know what she said to him, like, oh, by the way, the tech guy's watching you, and you're doing something illegal. Or what, but it was interesting because when I jump in, the screen goes from sorry, thank you. The screen goes black because when the screen connects, I don't want to pass all that image traffic through. It makes a black screen. So I saw him mouse hit the stop and then go look at the task tray and go look over here. So he knew that something was up, but it was kind of fun.
For a moment there, he probably thought it was UAC without the additional dialogue prompting him to make a decision.
I should have jumped on and said, "Hi, support from Microsoft."
Oh man,
you have the Clippy32 virus.
Or just no support for the. Did you say the name of the brand of the phone he was trying to root?
I thought it was a Samsung phone, but I could be wrong.
Hello, the Samsung support. May I help you?
We noticed you plugged your computer phone into the internet. That activates our online live chat.
That's right. Would you like assistance in rooting your phone?
RF. Just started deleting stuff. So that was fun. That is
cool. That is cool. Right place, right time.
Yeah. That was That's pretty fun. We received a Vox. I actually got a Vox from Jeff Owens, Black Hammer. And so he wanted to talk to us about, speaking of GFI, he's been using the mail program, and he sent us a Vox, and I asked him, hey, could I put this on the air? And he said, yeah. So here's Jeff.
Hey, Martin, wanted to send you a Vox or tell you the GFI Max mail service. I did get it installed. Their tech support is not all that good. I talked to this guy Nathan twice, and he tried to help me. He was spot on with the settings for a DNS and for how to set it up coming to outgoing, because I had them scan outgoing email. But the incoming and from there to HostGator wasn't working. I contacted PostLayer, which is one that Alistair McLean recommended on admin, and contacted PostLayer. So I wanted to do a trial. I got HostGator. See, that's one of those sites you guys use. I'm not sure how to set it up. He says, well, you set it up just like they say. Give it the 2 DNS for your MX records, but set it as a local server. And see, HostGator was setting it as a remote server, and that's what I kept doing, letting HostGator set it. Once I set it as local server, it's awesome. It works great in a week. I've been using it for almost 2 weeks now, and the 6,000 emails that came through, 69% were spam or viruses, and of those, it's about 25 to 30 were viruses that got through that we just went back and tagged them as false positives. I still have some that are going straight to HostGator's IP address. I'm trying to filter those out, but they're still, probably every day, especially right around my lunchtime, which is 11 Eastern, I get this barrage of eFax or Todd sent photos or things like this, and usually in 20s, to abcdfg@keyfasteners.com. But it's working great, so I'll see how well the charge and everything works out, but it is an awesome program. GFI Max Mail, I think it's like mail.maxfocus.com, so it works good for me.
Cool. I wanted to, thank Jeff for that Vox, because I asked him, hey, I'd like to play this on the air, because GFI, the Max Mail, is of course by the same company that I use my managed antivirus, and really looking forward to that. And how these work is kind of what he was saying, is you point your mail, you going from you to the internet, goes to GFI, the Max Mail first. Then you set on their side, it's kind of like it's a pass-through. Then on their side, you pass it out to the internet, and vice versa coming in. So they're scanning everything going out and everything coming in. They're the first hop. And I don't remember them being that expensive. I'd have to go through my notes and look, but I think it was something like $6, $7 a user. It's per mailbox. So I have another company who right now is, I heard about it yesterday again. Lots of spam. I'm going to be looking more into this, writing a proposal, and saying, would love to implement this in your guys' sites, just to keep them from getting so much spam. They're saying they're getting 50 to 60 spam messages a day, and so that's a lot. And I'm just quickly looking within my GFI toolbox here if there is a mail filter, but I don't think this is all stuff that's local. So I would have to set it up. No, yeah, I'd have to set it up on. It would be another third party, not a third party, but I couldn't. It won't integrate into my GFI dashboard. If that makes sense. But most of these spam filters, what's nice about these is that you do get notice that something's been quarantined, or you get a notice that over within the last day something gets quarantined. Then you usually have a login. So you have an admin login and then client logins, and that way I could give user A a login so that user A could go in, look and see what's been quarantined, and then they can release anything or put a filter in there for, say, false positives. So I'm going to be looking into that and probably just seeing if I can get a demo and trying it out for myself. I don't get a lot of spam, but it'd be worth to try it and see what's going on.
Interesting.
Mail Max. My son just got back from Disneyland, and one of the things that I was thinking about it's spring break. I'm going to be heading off. I'm going to 6. I'll be in 4 different airports coming up here, and there's always yeah, exactly. A couple is good. My daughter's like, yeah, we're going flying, and I'm like, well, we fly from here to here to here. And then we go from there to there to there to there. And she's like, oh, man, not that many. I'm like, come on, but this is the landing and the taking off. That's the fun part. She says, no, not really. So I'm going to get my kids tired of flying. But what I wanted to this is the Geeksters public service announcement regarding Wi-Fi, public Wi-Fi security tips. Just another one that I thought, it's always good just to throw this back out to our listeners, even if nothing else, just for me to remember things, that you should avoid. It says avoid free public Wi-Fi, but if you can't avoid a free public Wi-Fi, then make sure you have a firewall. Make sure your passwords, are you can always change them through something like LastPass. If nothing else, VPN is the best way to go ahead. Turn on your VPN and then make sure all your data is passing through it. But just a friendly reminder that when you're traveling, it's spring break here in Oregon, that when you're traveling and you come across a free Wi-Fi, don't just automatically connect to it. Think about, what am I going to do with this? What do I need to do with that? And, another option, and a lot of people have these, including myself, is you can use your smartphone as a hotspot. Then you connect to your smartphone, you're the only one on it, and then, what you can do is turn off the wireless on your phone. So now you're just using cellular data. And so you connect to your hotspot on your phone goes out just through the cellular. It's not just passing on the data right through the public hotspot, because that's pointless. At least, now you have your own little private LAN.
That is good advice.
Now it does cost data, so know that you're going to be using up your minutes, or if you're on an unlimited plan, have at it. But I have a plan that I have to share with my family, and so if you're getting close to that, but in a pinch, if you need to get something done, it may be it may be worth that little bit of overcharge to have a secure system, so you can get what you need to get done.
If you have a cell phone with a data plan and you don't know how to set up tethering, figure it out now. Because if you don't, I would imagine our audience, that's probably pretty much a slam dunk. But I mean, if you don't, figure it out. Find out if there's an application running on, available on the phone, let you do that. Set it up, try it out. Configure the credentials and everything. and if because maybe you need to you may need to research a third-party application from of course I'm thinking Android, I'm thinking the Play Store, but you figure it out now because it's extremely handy. And if you ever get a spot where you, gosh, I sure wish I had this, it's too late because trying to figure it out on the fly can be a huge hassle. So, and it's something that I do all the time. I get in the car, we're going for an hour and a half. Boom, I just throw the tethering up, and the kids. It's almost the difference between the kids driving me insane for an hour and a half in the car, or they're just sitting back quiet, happy because they're, I don't know, doing whatever it is they're doing with their DS, the tablet, and the whole thing. So, extremely useful. But like what you said, how many times I've set up a hotspot and pull out the laptop, or my wife with her work, she has a handheld scanner that has to be synced periodically. Usually by the time she gets home at night, but there's been a few times in a pinch she's set up tether on the phone, boom, synced at the store, and Bob-in-law is your cousin, or however that went.
Uncle-in-law is Bob's
uncle-in-law. Uncle-in-law. Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. So, yeah, that's that's actually a really good tip. That's something we haven't really talked much about on the show, but that's a huge part of my almost daily life. So honestly, if that's not something you've done before, do it, man. I encourage you get it set up ahead of time, because when you need it, man, you need it. You don't be fooling around with it.
Right. I also carry around a little, and I've talked about it on the show, a little hotspot. I have one of those. It's not the best hotspot. It's through. It's not through my local wireless carrier, so it doesn't always connect. But it's just the same thing. It's just my little local LAN. But when I can make a connection with it, it's really good, and it's unlimited for a fairly low price. So you can always look at maybe getting something that's separate from your phone plan, that is strictly just for internet access only.
Oh, that's really, you have. See, Verizon sells a jetpack. I mean, that's what we're talking about, right?
Well, actually, this is through Clear.
Okay.
And it's unlimited. It costs me $56 a month for unlimited amount of data. The problem I run into is that it doesn't work everywhere. So I'll take it with me to California, and it won't work in California. So then it doesn't really do me a lot of good. Even here in my home, my neighbor. A good friend of mine, so is in a different area. So my neighbor, relatively speaking, half a mile away, his neighbor, their dog bit through their Comcast connection. So he works from home. He runs a business, and so they were down for 3 days because the Comcast guy wouldn't come into a backyard that had a pit bull in the back of it, and they locked the back. Yeah, they locked the chicken. Then they locked the gate. So once they got everything up and running, they're fine. But I offered him my little hotspot, and it wouldn't connect. It wouldn't work. So I felt. But yeah, he said.
Let's do that's okay. So what when you do have like a good, when you are getting a good signal, what kind of speeds are you seeing with that?
Nothing great. Maybe 10 megs or so, 10 to 12 megs down.
Well, yeah. What are you doing? I mean,
it's faster than my phone. It's at least equivalent to my phone, because I think on my phone I get about the same thing through cellular. So I mean, but I don't connect to my hotspot to stream a movie. I could do that. You could. I mean, there's nothing that says you couldn't. But usually if you're going to connect to a hotspot when you're traveling, you're doing things like check an email, or you're writing a report, or you're things like that. It's not. I guess you could, but the Clear has it there. It's completely unlimited, unblocked. You can do whatever you want with it. So, I've only done a little bit with it.
Well, yeah. Geez, what'd you say? $55-$60 a month? That sounds awesome.
Yeah. Well, that's it's great in metropolitan areas, but not so good in just small little towns. And they told me, it's going to sync off all the other antennas, and I thought, that's great. I can get cellular access anywhere. It's not so much, but.
It's Clear, kind of.
Yeah. It's like, but AT&T wants to sell me one for $80 a month that taps onto my current plan, or I have to buy a whole new plan, or so I'm not paying as much, but I'm not getting as much, which you get what you pay for, and I live with that.
Well, I mean, nothing's going to work, in every scenario 100% of the time. And I mean, if it's mostly in metropolitan areas, and that's where you tend to be, I mean, well, that suits your needs. And, actually, what it needs to do is it needs to as long as it works in, I'm trying to think of what I'm going to say. I mean, as long as your phone still has good service, at the handful of times maybe it doesn't, well, you're set. I mean, big deal. I mean, it's if that's just on occasion. But apparently, I mean, if you're keeping up the contract, it must be working well enough for you and what you want to do with it.
Yeah, I don't use it as much as I probably should to keep, to say justify it, but it's a business write-off, so it's like, well,
I don't know. I mean, if it's, what, I know what would happen in my case is that if it served like one emergency purpose, like just once a year,
it's worth it.
And that's what it is.
And that's I would end up justifying it that way.
That's what it is. For the the 4 or 5 times I go, oh my gosh, I need something, it works, and that's great. Right. It pays for itself then.
There you go. Beautiful.
So speaking of business write-offs, I purchased a new toy today. I had a client. It's actually, and this is actually okay. So the client where I was talking about the koi pond is the same client who gets the spam. Who's the same client who called me today and said, I get a phone call, I start taking notes on a piece of paper, and before I get a chance to enter that information into their database program and make some notes and get some stuff, I get another call. And then I get another call and another call. And he says, now I'm 5 calls into it, and I forgot what I was supposed to do with the first one, and I have no way of saving the data. What's out there, what's available that you can maybe sync to your computer or something like that with like a notepad, like a physical notepad? And I said, well, let me go look. So I called up, our good buddy Liam at Liam Tech and asked him, hey, have you heard of anything like this before? I was doing some research, but he comes across.
That's how I look things up too. I just call Liam.
Well, he comes across so many different things. And it's not that I don't know what I'm doing.
I've been searching for days.
Liam, if you guys ever get a chance to talk to Liam, he comes across with he'll have people bring him like the weirdest stuff. Yeah. And so he just gets this random amount of stuff. And so if something's out there on the market, he has either seen it, heard it, or owns it at some point. So I called him up and I said, hey, here's what I'm looking for. And he goes, oh, Hack 5 just did a big thing on that. And they talked about what's called the boogie board. And so it's myboogieboard.com, BOOGIEBOARD.com, and I got the boogie board sync today. I was looking at 2 different ones, this one and another called DigiMemo. Now, DigiMemo looks more like a clipboard with a sunken-in paper that almost as if the stylus itself, when you're writing on it, the stylus is keeping track of the movements. It has some functions on the side, but it really kind of looks like it's a little antiquated looking, okay? The sync board is e-ink, and it has a stylus with it. It has an onboard memory, so you write stuff up, you can sync, you can save it right then and there. You can sync it via Bluetooth, you can sync it USB. It's got micro USB to your computer, so you can just save it, pull everything off. The storage on board, it says it can save up to 5,000 PDFs files. It syncs via Bluetooth. I'm assuming it doesn't look like it has wireless, but it has Evernote integration, so I'm not sure how that works. But you can save your documents right to there. So while I was talking to Liam, I was looking around and I realized that I had 3 notepads of random notes. I have like a big to-do list of major projects coming up, and I have a to-do list today like don't forget to charge this client this because I'll forget. And then I've got a little then my wife will call and say, hey, can you do this? And I quickly got to write down some notes or whatever. So I'm always writing notes down wherever I go. And so I thought, let me give this a shot. So I purchased one of these today, and I'll get it tomorrow. I did overnight it because I wanted to take it with me on my trip.
Sure.
To see what it would do, but it looks like, I bought the board itself, I bought the case, and then an extra stylus, and then I bought the warranty, and then next day, all for, I think it came out to like $147.
Okay. Cool. Well, I look forward to hearing about this.
My Staples has some in.
Is it cheaper, of course?
I don't know.
I could have saved myself, I could have just went across the street.
Huh.
No. It's all right. I supported podnuts.com/Amazon with it.
Oh, very nice.
So, that's going to come in tomorrow. So I'll be messing with it on the trip, playing with it, testing it out, and I definitely come back. It also acts. Because it syncs via Bluetooth. I don't know how this works in Linux, but it will act as a mouse pad. So you can,
okay, like a giant touchpad.
Yeah, and you can use the stylus to point, click, and open and adjust. I don't know if it. It looks like there's. Have you guys ever used kind of within the schools they have like their smart boards? Have you seen those?
Yeah.
Where you write maybe you write on something and it shows up on the board, or you can write on the board and they can print it. Well, so what happened is this is basically it has a virtual notepad on the computer and you can write on the board itself and then it shows up on the computer as it's following you.
Gotcha.
I'll have to find the Hack 5 episode that they interviewed it. They did a run through with this and it is e-ink. It doesn't have it's not backlit, so one of the things they mentioned was it doesn't really work good in low light. But if you're taking notes in an office or something like that, that should work well for you. You know, I'm going to a Linux Fest coming up here in a month from today. I have my little Nexus 7, and I thought was, well, I'm going to put Evernote on my Nexus 7, so when I'm at a conference, I can start typing stuff out. I can take notes in Evernote. That way, it syncs across the board. I don't type that fast, and especially with a stylus and a virtual keyboard. So this is going to be a great way for me to, create. Just quickly jot down some notes or some web addresses or something like that on this boogie board. So my little gift to me today, and I'm going to see how it works.
Well, we expect a user review.
I will do. If I can't do one next week, which we'll see what happens, but I will definitely have a user review for it.
You can just type it up. Everything's all misspelled, written badly.
Yeah, that would be
just. Yeah. You know what? There's a lot of those types of devices, and I look at them. It's like, I don't know. Because the tablet is an awesome device, but it seems to me it seems like there's something missing, like an interface. But as soon as I try something, a keyboard, it's this or that, Bluetooth, it's like, it's just one more thing for me to carry around. I have to hook it up. I get it out. What am I doing? I don't know. I suppose if I had more routine in my life, I would probably find. I'm not saying it's bad and it's not going to work for you, but I've just never found something that I felt like.
If you had the Note 4 with the stylus, that would solve that problem.
Yeah, well, you know what? Unless that stylus can find its way home, I'd lose that day one.
Yeah.
I would. That's me. These people, after a month, I see they still have it. I'm like, well, you're like a god.
Well, it goes without saying.
But I'm a train wreck. I'm not telling anybody anything new. Anyway.
I will have a link to the show notes. Swift 110 in the chat asked me for the link to the Hacked 5 article, so it'll be in the show notes. But it's about 7 minutes in is when they start talking about it.
Cool.
One of the things that I have used this file in the past, and my family, we are a cross-platform family. My daughter has a Linux box. I have a Linux box. My daughter now wants to go back to Windows a little bit. My wife always is Windows because of her work. My son uses a Chromecast. I don't know how this is going to work on a Chromecast, but there's an application out there called Nitro Share, and I've used it before, and it works really well. What it is it's an application that you can put on Windows boxes and Mac, or Windows and Linux. I don't know if it runs on Mac. But it allows you to be able to see all the application itself creates kind of a peer-to-peer network within itself. You have to be on the same LAN or the same subnet. So my wife can't take her computer to work, and this is not going to jump that. That's where you're going to want to run. You're going to run something like BitTorrent Sync or Dropbox, something like that. But within the same local area network, you can run a program called Nitro Share, and it will sync data. Oh yeah, no, it is. So it's Linux, Mac, and Windows, and they can all be on. You can just drag and drop files in there. It shows up at the other computer because it shows the computers. So you can be. It's not Dropbox or BitTorrent Sync in the way of there's not a central repository. You're actually pushing data to a certain computer. So from this computer to that computer, and I've used it before. It worked fine. It wasn't. I didn't think it was great, but it looks like they came out. Maybe they did an update to it. Linux. Linoxide, Linoxide came out with a new a how-to about it, and I thought I'd share it out with that in case somebody's looking for just a quick. I just need to share data within my local LAN.
But you can't do that with Samba.
Well, you could, but then you'd have to share data somewhere. Yeah, I mean you could. This isn't anything new under the sun. This type of an application, but yes, you could put on a Windows box and do a Samba share, and then point everything to that same Samba share if you wanted to, and this is just an easy way of just creating, installing an application and just making a connection to it.
I have of course these are all Windows machines. Not all, like maybe 5 of the PCs where I can just have them all on and just move files back and forth to.
Right. Yeah, and that does work.
Might be a little easier though.
Yeah, well, and that does work great. But then, sometimes if you're in an internet, say you're in a network that, so for the Samba shares for you, Mitch, you'd have to have the right authentication between each of the machines because you probably don't have a domain controller. Yeah. So you have to make sure that the same usernames and passwords are across all the machines.
I have no passwords.
Right. So I mean, yeah. So there's no.
But I had to share each folder. Yeah.
Right. So this won't require that because it itself talks to it. It's its own little proprietary little peer-to-peer network. So it's not like I said, this isn't anything new under the sun. It's been around for a while, but I thought, hey, if somebody has a Mac, Windows, and Linux, and they're multi cross-platform environment, and they want to try this out, here you go. I used it when it first came out and thought this is pretty slick, and then really I kind of stopped using it because I thought, well, how often am I going to push something? I thought, well, I'll just push it from my Linux box to that Windows server behind me. Well, that Windows server already has an SMB share on it, so it's like, well, I just connect to the SMB share. So,
I have an Android app that. Nothing at all like this, but you reminded me of it. It's in the Play Store. It's called Shares Finder, one word. I love it. I use it all the time. It's earlier versions of Android had such a feature in it. I'm trying to think. Maybe it was Ice Cream Sandwich. I don't know. I'm thinking way back, but I want to say with. I'm trying to think what the heck, Jelly Bean. Oh, it went away. I don't know. I'm not Android guru, so I don't know. Look it up. I don't care. But it's like I know that I have shared folders on computers in my network here at home, and I want to access them. It's like I remember when that went away. I was like, well, yeah, I don't know. It says you want to connect to it. I don't know all the. I don't know its location right off. I had to type in all the credentials, all the stuff. It's like I don't know the IPs of the machine here on my network at home. And so anyway, Shares Finder, it's kind of like when you run what is it, Angry IP Scanner or something? It kind of finds all of the devices on your network, and then when you click on, you put in the credentials with the username and password, and then it'll show you all the shared folders. It makes it really easy to find, a shared folder you're looking for. So, Shares Finder. This is not the Android show. I don't know. There may be a better application, but this is one that I hit upon it. It's always worked really well. I love it, and so I kind of want to throw that out there.
Yeah, I have all my stuff like media share. Like I might have a movie on one machine, and then I got my smart TV. And I'll just play it right from the computer, and then we were watching a movie last week. My wife decides to turn her computer on, and it just knocked everything out. So I don't know it was probably the TP-Link wireless router, because I have an HP wireless router that was still working. But the funny thing is, my phone was working fine, but all the computers are connected to it just cut out in the TV. So I mean, I don't know, just have it overloaded because I could have probably 11 things connected at any one time if everything with the phones and tablets. So, but I'm not sure what happened. But I mean, as soon as I reset it, unplugged it, plugged it back in, it was fine.
Yeah, sounds like it just overloaded. Dennis Kelly in the chat let me know that I just lost it. Yes, that the boogie board at Staples is like $34.99 or $39.99 and $29.99, right around there. Those are the original what are called Jot, so the boogie board Jot, and that is a one-page only. You write it out and that's it, type format. But so the Sync, the bigger one, that actually will save multiple pages and stuff. And the one thing I did forget to mention is that there is no way to erase a line. So that is the one kind of downfall that I've been hearing a lot about, is that if I take a lot of notes and I mess up a line, I can't just erase the line, I got to erase the whole page. So in that aspect, it's kind of like an Etch-a-Sketch. Yeah. You just got to shake it. But, you just...
If you shake it hard enough, everything will go away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, you could take one of those.
So I just I was talking to Dora actually earlier, and he's thought about maybe just getting the Jot one, the single one-page one, but he's also interested in the Sync as well. So, and I did put a link in the show notes regarding the file shares that you were talking about, or shares finder. Shares Finder. Yeah, I did find it. And put it. It's in the show notes as well, and that does look pretty good.
Likey.
Yeah, I use the what is it? The ES File Viewer, ES File Explorer.
Okay. Yeah.
That also has a stuff, but you need to know the SMB. So I will use that to connect to my SMB share, like my NAS, so I can view videos or something like that.
Yeah. So that's the thing. It actually needs that extra bit of information. It's like, well, I don't remember that. I can't remember my own phone number. I can't remember all that. And so the Shares Finder kind of goes through and says, aha, here it is.
Yeah, no, that looks good. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna install it.
It's free, and there's like ads and crap and stuff. So and well, I just noticed that. So if you like it, you get rid of the ads. I'm sure there's probably some paid version. I don't know.
Well, I end up going into a site and I'm always asked, can you find out, what's available on our network and stuff like that. So this is one of those apps where it's like, well, I open it up, I scan it, and I scan it and I do I scan the network, and I can say, oh, look, this is what's available on your network, and give them a way that we can start locking things down or something like that. So that's
right.
Yeah, it's got a nice interface. It just first thing it did was find everything, and it tells you whether it's it does a IP address scan, so it's scanning everything. So it's a nice IP scanner, and then just tells you right off the bat SMB. So like this one here, this is one of my routers, and the first thing it does is it's in red and it says web router web server. This one over here tells me it's my server, my NAS, and it says SMB, and gives me the information about it. This one over here is my print server, and it says FTP print service is on. So it's a good way to that's a nice little find. Thanks, Tim.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Very good.
We received an email. Go to my email here, and so last week we talked about the Bitdefender box. Do you remember that?
Yes.
So this is from. Oh, I don't have. Let me pull my email. Sorry. This is from Todd Blout. Blout? Sorry, Tom, if I've messed up your name. He said, I heard you talking about the Bitdefender box. It's cool, but you have to pay $99 a year and $200 for the box. I'm waiting for my iShield from iTuos Networks. It's ITUS Networks. The box is $188 and no subscription fee. Watch it on Twit TV, or the Twit TV This Week in Enterprise Tech. It's about 31 minutes in, and he's got the link, and I'll put there in the show notes as well. It's about 31 minutes in. This box has some amazing specs. iTuosNetworks.com, and he said, sent from my iPad using Apple's Magic Fairy Dust.
Oh. Jiminy Christmas. You'd like to keep that to yourself, or everybody's going to want some.
How did you get some? I took a look at this thing, and it's a little box, and it has an in and an out and a console cable. It's got an SD card in it, but it's the same kind of the same thing where you can use it as a it says it prevents malware, prevents exploits, filters websites, unlimited devices, lifetime updates. It looks like it was a Kickstarter campaign at one time. I remember hearing about this from Matthew Williams at one time. So it looks interesting. I'm interested to test it out. It looks like maybe they have different Shield versions for home, for small office. So they have different grades, if you will. But I'm looking. I may go ahead and order one of these. What did he say? It was 188. Let's see. I'm going to the store. Yeah, 188 pre-ship. So it doesn't even start shipping until next month. What they said is it said Shields inspects all of the data coming into your home and filters it using an inline intrusion protection system. It's the same type of active advanced threat prevention utilized in millions of businesses around the world. It says it protects you against a wide range of threats, including viruses, scams, malicious websites, Java, browser and file exploits, drive-by downloads, watering hole attacks, botnets, data theft, remote access Trojans, and keyloggers. It's kept up to date by the latest threats on their online. So it has it's two 1 gigahertz processors. It's got a gig of RAM, 4 gigs of storage, 3 gigabit interfaces, an RJ45 console, SD card interface, and an RJ45 serial console. Ouch! It says it's pre-ordered right now for 188. After that, it's going to go up to 229.
Not to interrupt here, but a watering hole attack. That's a new one to me.
That would be...
Yeah, I'm reading on this right now. It makes sense. I see it, but that's very interesting.
You could look it up, but you could tell us what it is.
Well, that's our homework for this week, listeners. According to Wikipedia, watering hole, it's a computer attack strategy in which the victim is a particular group. In this attack, the attacker guesses or observes which websites the group often uses and infects one or more of them with malware. Eventually, some member of the targeted group gets infected. So, it's like infecting the whole group by leaving a bit of infected cheese out, knowing that the group eventually will frequent that area and eat the cheese. That's watering. Have you ever heard that? I've never heard that phrase before. I like it.
I have, just because the difference is that you're specifically going. You're targeting your attack based on your attack victims, the victims' rules. Like, it would be making sure that you lay spikes or you put nails in the road, because every time I leave my driveway, I always turn right. And every time I'm going to the school to pick up my son, I always go down this road. So if I'm always going down that road, we're going to put a virus there that Martin's always going to get.
Right. So, yeah. Digging it.
As opposed to just throwing it out there and saying, well, I hope somebody goes to this website, because but with the watering hole type attack, you're being specific as in the location they're going, but then you can be specific to what there is. So if they know that, that I not only do I go to this website all the time, but I have this type of a computer, now they can be really specific. Now they're not worried if Tim goes to the website, because it doesn't matter. They're not trying to attack Tim. They're trying to attack Martin. And so they'll go to that website with a specific plan to attack Martin.
Right. Got it.
But yes, that's
I've heard that phrase before. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it is fair. I mean, I've heard it a couple times on things like Security Now, but it's a great
watering hole. It's perfect.
Watering hole.
Yeah.
Do we have a Podnuts watering hole?
Yeah, it's so called Ohio Linux Fest.
I guess it would be.
Well, that's. Can we change the subject now?
Okay, sure.
Nobody came back from Ohio Linux Fest infected. Okay, thanks, dear. Everything's fine.
It was not specific to you, Tim. Don't worry about it.
That's right. It was not specific to me. No shenanigans. It's all just computer dorks. Don't worry, nothing happened. It's fine.
LTSB, their LTSP, as in Paul, networks have been around for a while, and I've worked with a company. We actually set one up for the school, and this is what this is. It's the LTSP. It stands for Linux Terminal Server Project, and you're moving away from like in a classroom setting, all of these different multiple different computers acting as standalone to all of them connecting to one central place. You have a major server, and everybody's connecting to that, but they're doing their same things. But when they connect in, they use like an RDP protocol or the SSH in, and so it's basically we're going back to the kind of the green screen, just the terminal type style is what this is. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
I came across this article from at raspberrypi.org where they have something called PiNet, and you can manage a Raspberry Pi LTSP in a classroom. So, and they actually have it set up. It looks like it has set up on some Motorola lap docks. So these are the HP makes some as well. When we set these up, we did it on a Windows server. So you get these devices from, and if there's a hard drive in it, they're very tiny. They just turn on, and when they turn on, you set them up to look to something to boot from. Okay, they itself don't have any operating system, or if they do, it's a very basic operating system, just enough to get them booted and running. You usually point them there. So it looks like this one here, they're using a Raspberry Pi or Raspberry Pis to actually set up a network, and it looks pretty cool because you can have Raspberry Pis now. The Pi 2s are $35. So for the cost of a decent computer or a decent laptop, you can get a couple Pis, and put them all together, and now you can run a lab, a lab off that. And this is something that they've put some pictures here. One of the things they did is they set this up in like Uganda, where you may not have a whole lot of resources, but you can use computers to boot from. And this is where the Pixie Boot stuff comes in. You would Pixie Boot the laptops. Even if you had a functional computer, you could Pixie Boot it so it boots to this terminal server, and now you can use your laptops instead of booting from the hard drive on itself. It's booting up from a third party place.
I almost get this. I have to stare at some more, but I like what's happening here. I just haven't quite. I've almost wrapped my mind around it.
So it says it's the script uses the LTSP to build a virtual Raspbian, so it's the Debian operating system, on a server. Then let Raspberry Pi's network boot off of it.
God, these pictures are beautiful, man. This is so cool.
Yeah.
I need to look at this more. I just, you know what? Whenever I see technology that's cheap and just the basics, man. Just the basics. Getting people on the internet. Just getting them to use a computer. Just getting information from the internet into people's hands that couldn't otherwise. Just oh my gosh. I just love it. That really lights my fire, man. And I'm seeing this. I'm seeing like there's a picture here. It's just like a whole row, man, of like Motorola laptops. Or here, the next picture. I'm looking at another picture down here. I just see keyboards and screens, but it's just like I see like a Raspberry Pi like boot screen. That to me is just so cool.
Yeah, and we have to admit we're a wealthy country. Whether you're deemed wealthy or not, by the standards of society, we have a lot of resources. I have 7 computers, not counting my phones and tablets in my home. We all have many computers, but you go into third world countries. I've got some friends and right now who landed in India yesterday, and they're there for 2 weeks or a week and a half in India, and those people are so happy, but they don't have this stuff. And this is where you can take what we would consider junk hardware, package it up, send it to another country, set it up, and now they have system resources to be able to get on the internet, to be able to do research, to be able to, connect and Skype and talk to with other people with other countries.
It sounds something like John Mad Dog Hall would be into.
Exactly. Yeah. He actually was looking at doing some Raspberry Pi stuff, and yeah, his is the Kawa project.
Right.
I'll look.
Who?
John Mad Dog Hall.
Okay. Yeah, and just to back up from it, it's up until very recently in history, it was about taking, quote unquote junk hardware, or basically hardware that was a generation or two out. And so, what am I going to do with this? I have stuff collecting dust, but it could very easily be repurposed to do this or that. It doesn't even have to be like quote unquote junk hardware anymore. We're talking about brand new but very inexpensive hardware. I mean, we're talking brand new off the shelf stuff. That's because you're talking about a Raspberry Pi, $35. I mean, and some very basic hardware as far as like peripherals to go along with that. It doesn't even have to be like our old throwaways anymore. It's just really inexpensive stuff off the shelf. It's I don't know. I mean, some days I think technology is just the devil, and then other times I'm greatly encouraged by it. So
yeah, it's Project Kawa, and I put a link in the show notes. Now, this is an article from 2010, and it says Project Kawa it's regarding São Paulo in Brazil. And he wants to enable people. It says, simply put, Project Kawa aims to enable people to become system administrators and then become business people to become their own bosses. Well-trained technology person might not know much about business planning or marketing, but Project Kawa can do that for them through a skeletal package. They can provide training materials online or on a cheap DVD so they can train themselves, and they offer apprenticeships for systems administrators to get them training. Now, this, like I said, this is from 2010. I think his plan has changed a little bit, but it still has the same. He still has the same heart and passion for that. David Kelly says, and I know we've talked a lot about Androids and we talked about Raspberry Pis, but that's kind of what this show's about. We talk about a lot of things. David Kelly says that he built a wireless webcam with his Pi. My Raspberry Pi is being used downstairs as the first generation. That's my it's running Kodi, which is it used to be XBMC. That's my media center, and it pulls all my data right from my Linux, right from my Windows NAS. So we just watch movies right from there, and I use my tablet or my phone as a remote control.
Yes.
So I haven't bought another Pi yet. I'm thinking about it, and what I want to do with my other Pi is actually get a TV monitor or a bigger monitor, put it up here above me, and run my GFI on it. I think because all it is, I just want to view a web page and have it running every refresh every minute or so, and that way when something happens and I get it flagged, I can look up there and I see, oh, something's red. I know there's an issue somewhere.
That's perfect. You know what? That's exactly what I wanted, and I joked about it. But back when I was working with the guy and we were using that, I said, I was like, we need like mobile command headquarters or something, but just like a giant screen, man, just with that huge dashboard. And as soon as a big red flag pops up, and that's funny because I think that's, of course, you're not. Yeah, I'm talking like Batcave kind of stuff. I mean, you're talking about something actually like useful and functional, and that would actually like serve a real purpose. But it's not like you have to, because that to me was the problem with the dashboard. It's that you're only catching the stuff when you log into it and you inspect it. It's not like it wasn't like in front of me all the time that I could just like take a glance up. I mean, you could make it alerts, and so it'd send you an email. And nobody needs that in their life because you'll get a million emails. But that's, I always imagine like just something like that where I could just take a glance up and boom, okay, well I see there's something going on to it. I should check. Because I was just checking it like periodically throughout the day, and then I would be seeing things. So,
and so many things are web-based now. When I worked back in education, we had 2 giant 50-inch monitors up on the wall, and all it was doing was reading a web page that was cacti, so we could see when networks would fail. We would see when internet drops between that, and we could do that, and and you just use a Raspberry Pi. I mean, Kodi uses his Raspberry Pi, and the nice thing about the Pis is it's just an SD card. You just load up what you need. You just do it. Kodi uses his at his shop, and he streams videos on it, circles videos on it. David Kelly says he's working with a restaurant right now to show menus on a screen. So we no longer need.
Oh, very cool.
We no longer need to be able to get a box, a small computer box or something like that. You get yourself a $35 Raspberry Pi, grab Noobs, and look for Noobs, Noobs. You flash your SD card, you run it off that. What do you want to do with it? You want to run this application, that application? Noobs is kind of a package installer, so when you run it, it'll ask you, what do you want to do with it? And it lists all of these different distros for you, and you hit, I want that one. And it loads it for you, and you're up and running.
Nice.
So I'm going to have to purchase one. They've been running out, and so I don't know. And I haven't really. It's one of those things where I would like to do that on the wall, but I have to spend money. And is it worth it? Because I know that really what would happen is if I put it up on the wall, I would be running my dashboard, in one tab, and probably Netflix or Hulu in another tab. So I have to be honest with myself that I'm keeping myself from sitting here all day staring at the wall watching TV. Really,
Yeah. I understand. I mean, it would be. I hear a door creak, and you see my Angry Birds. Like, I have to hit the boss button. Make Angry Birds go away.
Minimize. What are you doing? Nothing. No. What were you doing? Nothing. All right, I was watching. What was it, Mitch? New Jersey Medium.
Long Island.
Long Island Medium.
My wife loves that show. I can't. It's just not real.
No, it's not real. It's the devil.
But people think
it's scary.
You get Penn and Teller. They'll disclose these type of people.
Yeah. Well, I used to think I was a medium until I couldn't guess which hand the ball was in a magician show. So I was like, I give up. It lasted for all of about 15 minutes.
I've had the ball in my own hand and guessed wrong.
That's the third time today.
That's when you know you're in bad shape.
Yes.
Yeah, especially if you've only got one Ronald McDonald mitten on.
Right. It's not the Ronald McDonald hand. It's not the Ronald. Oh, it was. Was it like Homer Simpson? Don't push the button. Don't push the button. No.
Don't.
We have talked about DNS in the past, the domain name system, from different facets, whether you're doing web hosting, whether Google gets their DNS gets taken down. But we've talked a little bit about it, and I came across this, and I thought this was a great way just to kind of another refresher. What exactly is DNS? How does it work? What does it do? And this one is really nice. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but they talk about records. They talk about what the different types of records, how it would work, the MX records. Because when somebody says, "Oh, I need you to create me an A record," well, what is an A record? What is an MX record? What's a C name? I thought I would throw this in there just for somebody. If you're interested, take a look at it. Kind of gives you some more information.
Very good.
That's all I have. I'll tell you right now.
That's all we got time for.
It was good. Very good show.
But I'm excited for my new toy. My wife doesn't know about it yet.
It's not too much money.
That's not much of a toy. It don't sound like a toy to me.
Well,
that sounds like a tool. I mean,
okay.
I mean, come back if you can find some like really frivolous way to use it. Well, okay, so that puts it into the landscape of toys. But I mean, right now, it's
great for taking minutes.
It sounds like a tool.
Yeah. Well, and I'm gonna put it through my paces. I'll take it to different. I've got a couple places. I'm meeting with a gentleman. Excuse me. He's written a couple times. His name is Joe. He lives here in the Portland area. We're actually getting together next Monday. He has a client that their wiring apparently is a disaster. They went down, they unplugged something. They don't know what they're doing. They plugged it back in. They got it up and running. They want us to come in and just take a look at it. And that would be a great spot. I walk around my tablet. I'm going to take notes anyways. Walk around my tablet. I can draw on it. I can make little notes on it. Make some recommendations. So, Dennis, she doesn't listen to the show.
Is that the Ponus Joe you're talking about?
Yeah.
Joe Mesman.
Yeah, Joe Mesman. So he contacted me last week and said, could you, it was kind of late in the day. Could you run out and get this client up and running? And I said, sure. They're way on the east side. I knew it was going to take me a while because I was just about 5 o'clock. And I called them up and they said, well, we're going to call you right back. So okay, And they said, well, we got everything situated. We just kind of started unplugging and plugging stuff in. And I said, oh, okay. It's working, but Joe sent me some pictures, and I can see changes right off the bat. It looks like a lot of their wireless access points are plugged into the WAN interface. So I have a feeling that they're going to say our wireless devices can't talk to our network, and it's because they've already created 2 subnets, separated the subnets that way. They're running some old. There's a Linksys blue box on the wall. It's what I'm talking about. When you look at the box, and you go, "That's a Linksys."
Yeah.
They have one of those already there, so I'm already thinking in my head, well, what are we going to do about replacing that? Because I can see they have Comcast out to that box. Maybe we'll put a new TP-Link VPN router in, something higher end, something with a little more Gusto on it because that's an older box. It's 10100. Let's get them up to a gig for a $100 box, and we'll go. We'll get some maybe some new wireless access points in there, but they don't look very big. But it's gonna be a great place where I'm gonna be able to take notes, draw some pictures, and really look into that. How about you guys? Anything coming up exciting this week?
Well, here's something exciting. We all know and love Mike Smith. He just upgraded his Verizon service to the Quantum, so he did a speed test. Check this out. 313.59 down and 344.7 up. That's
wow.
Unbelievable.
Man, I have put.
He got like 53 comments on his Facebook.
After he did that, I ran mine just to see because I couldn't remember, and I hit 125 down and 10 up.
What do you? Who are you with? You're with Comcast, right?
I'm with Comcast, yeah.
You do get that much?
Yeah.
I get like in the 90s, the high.
But 300 plus down and 300 plus up. See, that's the thing. He has a lot. He's got a huge upload, which you don't realize how much you need it until you use it. But that's amazing.
He uses an old Logitech camera. He needs to upgrade that camera.
Oh, I haven't seen it. I listen to the shows. I just haven't seen him.
Yeah, I listen to it. Not very rarely listen to it live, but I do listen to his shows.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I get a lot of information from him.
Some people think I got an old camera, but I just look old.
Well, no, you move around fast. You're kind of a ninja.
If you're still going through a Core 2, Tim.
My real life is fuzzy. My entire life is pixelated somewhat. I mean, it's a very it's an accurate representation of my life.
I have one Core 2 Duo left, my laptop upstairs. I got rid of all my other Core 2s, just gave them away. Because I mean, if you're doing a Google Plus Hangout, it's you can't do too much other than that. It's not very good for that either. Yeah. So all my machines I have now are i5s and i7, except for the laptop upstairs. And well, i3.
Sounds good. So Tim, if you want to get a hold of you, what's the best way they can do that?
Tim Bauermeister on Google Plus. Find me there.
Nice. If people want to get a hold of me, they can email at martin@obandocomputing.com, or they can just check me out. I'm Obando Computing in the chat, and I'm Obando in the Google Plus.
And why would anybody want to get a hold of me? But you can at geeksters.com.
Oh, they do.
Geeksters.podnus.com, or send us a voicemail at 707-6-PODNUT. That's 707-676-3688.
Yeah. And if you want to buy something like I bought something earlier today, podnuts.com/Amazon. It's never too early to buy yourself a gift, a tool. Buy your wife something she'll enjoy.
Well, a boogie board.
A boogie board. Buy your wife a boogie board. There you go. And coming on right after this, we'll just talk about that later. So guys, thanks for coming and hanging out with us, and we'll talk with you probably not next week. We're probably going to not be on Tuesday next week because my daughter has a dentist appointment, but we'll figure out another day to do it.
I do too, by the way.
Sorry, but you'll just hear like an hour of that.
I know. All right, guys. Have a great fiscal week, and don't forget to be grundled.
Okay.
All right. I was going to say, coming on right after the show, so if you guys are listening live, watching, Linux for the Rest of Us comes on in like 45 minutes. So that gives me enough time to probably go change out of my work clothes, put on some shorts, because I sit in on that show and we do take care of the notes and stuff. So I was watching Dora update the notes.
What show is this tonight, by the way?
152. So yeah, so we'll have to talk about next week. Like I said, my daughter's got a dentist appointment, and there's something else going on Tuesday night. So she's gonna have a dentist appointment. Then right after that, I've got. I've got a coaches meeting. That's what it is. I knew there was something important.
Man, I gotta tell you what. Are we're still live?
We are live.
This I kind of like, you totally lost me pretty much after the thing with the Raspberry Pi, because there was a picture of all these Motorola lap docks set up in a row on that website, and they were all hooked to the Raspberry Pi, right? And that really, I'm intrigued by that because I have a lap dock. It was actually given to me because these things were like basically if you I think if you had the Atrix or the Motorola, I'm trying to think what basically the generation before the Razor Max that Mitch and I had, and of course that phone's 2.5 years old. This thing, it was 100, like 150, $200 or something, and the phone just docked into it, and it was a lap dock is what it was. And so basically you had your screen there, but it was kind of like what you're talking about the tablet. I mean, you had a full screen but you're still limited to whatever horsepower the phone had in it. Well, anyway, this was like a complete fiasco. These devices, they were way overpriced. They were attached to terribly underpowered phone, and people expected too much. And it was kind of a hard sell. Where it was like, okay, well, I paid $100 for this phone, and you want me to pay $200 for this lap? So anyway, it was silly. But you know what? So I have one basically a Motorola rep had a garage full of them, and he gave some to my friend Verizon, and my friend Verizon gave me one. These things, like I said, they could barely give them away, and I'm fascinated to see stacks of them all of a sudden are now on eBay, and they all say, Motorola laptop, perfect for the Raspberry Pi. I'm very, very fascinated to see that they have found a new market for these things, several years old, unopened. So. Very interesting.
Yeah, we're moving back to that whole terminal type stuff, and like I said, I've set up. The ones that we had at school. They were these HP boxes, and they weren't very big, about the size of maybe about half the size of a tissue box. Kind of cut in half. About that size. And all they did is you just programmed them to boot into another server. They pixie booted in. They RDP'd in. It was a Windows one, so they booted up. They grabbed the IP address from the DNS server, and then they ran the RDP commands. And when they booted up, it was Windows. You logged in, but what you were doing is you were actually logging in as a remote user to that server. And so you had this whole lab of 30 computers all remoting into the server. Now this is Windows based, but it's the same kind of concept. You boot up, you pixie boot into this Raspberry Pi. Now you have everything in there. And one of the things they mentioned in there, I don't know if you got down to the features. Did you read all those features?
No, I didn't get that far.
So it says network-based user account, so any user can sit down a Raspberry Pi in the classroom. Network-based operating system, so if you want to change the operating system, for example, new piece of hardware, you just edit the master copy and reboot. That's one of the great things here about these is that they're all connected to a central console. You change the central, and they all get updated. You want to add more files, you add it to one place. You want to do updates, you update one place. You want to make some changes, you do it to one place. This says they have shared folders, they've got backups, they have automatic work collection, in-hand system, and it says super easy to set up and free and open source.
I can't. I'm interested to read some more about that. That's very interesting. Anyway, that sort of thing really gets me fired up.
Yeah, they're if you could work, we thought about doing some kind of a virtual system like this or an LTSB system at the lab that the school that I worked at, and we ended up not. But we're this area up here. We have Nike, we have Adidas, we have Intel. I mean, Intel will drop, $250,000 on some fundraiser to save the Pacific Northwest three-legged ant or something. You know what I mean? Where we could talk with them and ask them, hey, could you donate money to a school like this? Could we get $100,000 for some Raspberry Pis, a stack of these Motorola laptops from eBay, and we could set up a lab in something like a homeless shelter. Or something, where then people could come in and they could sit down and they could look for jobs, And
that's
you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
We give people chances to expand and to grow without pretty much saying, well, I'm using the a homeless community just as an example because there are people who, are homeless because they've done something they've done themselves, and there are people who are homeless because of just circumstances, and there are people who are actively looking, trying to get out of that. Well, how can we help them?
Whoa. I mean, in my experience, the people who are in the homeless shelters are the ones that are actually working toward getting themselves back on track.
Exactly.
It's the people who aren't in the homeless shelters that don't necessarily need a handout. They need to come in first, get themselves back on track. But yeah, I mean, the place where you actually put those tools in their hands is in the shelter itself. Yeah.
And so you set up, for probably less than $100,000, if that, set up something like this where you could set up a 4-person lab that's running Linux, so you don't have to worry about viruses, or you know what I mean. I know that we could argue semantics about Linux virus and stuff like that, but you run a Linux operating system that's free. You're not paying for licensing. You run it so they can't get and then you block it down with whatever. But you help people so they can help themselves for really inexpensive. And so you see things like this where I mean, 6-7 years ago, to do something like this would take a lot of money, because now you're talking each individual lab has, each individual thing. Now we've gone into this where we've these terminals, and now we can do it for so much cheaper and get the same result.
Yeah.
And I think I'm passionate along with you, Tim, because you see what can be done. I'm typing to Dennis Kelly, but you see what can be done. And it's exciting, and you could do a bake sale and raise money.
Yeah, I like the $100,000 better. I mean, because there is my fee on top of that.
Well, of course, that's $800,000. That's $88,000 right there. Can I get $100,000 for this? I just made $80,000 today. Check out how many boogie boards I have. Handing out boogie boards. Boogie boards for everybody.
That's right. I got the left and the right Ronald McDonald glove.
Mitch is gone.
Is he gone?
He left. Oh wait, no, there's his hand. Wait, it was only one hand.
I'm editing the audio. I mean, I'm putting it up. Put some on the other machine.
That's cool. Oh boy.
He's got his headphones on. Don't talk bad about Mitch. Well, thank you everybody for coming out and chatting. And I like the interaction. I don't know about other hosts, but I know that I definitely like the interaction within the chat room.
Well, I'm just a co-host, and I do enjoy the co-interactions.
Well, we're all co-hosts. The trifecta of.
Nah, you're the host. You're the host.
No, come on.
No.
My boogie board shipped. I got a notification because I asked for it next day. It's already. Cool. It's interesting. If I don't ask for it next day, I don't know where it comes from. It comes from like Kansas or something. But when I ask for it next day, it comes out of Seattle. I think that's the only way they can get it to me. I mean, I could drive the 3 hours and pick it up in Seattle, but.
Oh man, that's cool. Well, it's getting late here. I'm gonna bail.
Yeah, I received just real quick. I received the wireless router for the client to make the bridge. I received a box, big box, and usually what happens is inside this big box there's a box with the router, and there's lots of air packets in there. And this one was interesting. It was a big box, and inside that was a board that was angled up so it filled the box, and then the router itself was like saran wrapped to this cardboard board. So then I had to pull the board out and then cut the saran wrap to get to the box for the thing. It was I'm always curious what Amazon how they go about packaging things. Like one day you'll get this box just crammed in, and the next day you'll get this tiny little box with full a whole bunch of air in it.
Yeah. It's almost as if the people packing it have some degree of latitude, and you wonder if it's like their first day, or maybe it's their last day, or it's somebody that's just way too creative to be packing boxes, and it's like it's by their 6th hour, their first day, they're like, let's see what this will do. and they're creating like the little Russian nesting dolls of boxes.
Yes. Yep.
Oh man, and that's when you get like the smallest thing that you ordered in the largest box, and then like a second box with the biggest thing just crammed into it.
Okay, so David Kelly just sent me his pictures. And I was thinking Wi-Fi camera. I'm thinking, okay, like for yourself. He has this outside on a bird feeder. Like it's a wildlife camera.
Oh, okay, all right.
That's
yeah.
awesome. And David, how does that come into you? Do you have to go out and just grab pictures off the SD card then and view them, or can you access it remotely? Maybe he needs file shares. Shares files. Oh, wait, I have robots. Oh, he'll have robot. That's something else. He said, "Wait, I'll have robots package." Well, maybe he can send us to us and let us know. But that's cool. I like the wildlife camera thing. He's got it in a plastic box to keep the weather out of it.
Very
Speaking
cool.
of Amazon, real fast, they opened up a facility down Baltimore, and
Oh no, I didn't.
yeah, it used to be the GM plant, and they're offering like really quick service within like 5 miles. They talked about using the drones, but something was just in the paper recently.
Oh yeah, they do have some. You can get stuff next day if you're close enough. Dennis said it's Wi-Fi, so he can view it Wi-Fi. He must have like a web interface on it, and he can watch wildlife.
What camera is that, by the way? Is that the?
It's just a Raspberry Pi camera.
Oh, it is one. Okay.
So Dennis, what you should do, and it stores to a Samba share. So what he could do is set up an external, get no IP, set up an external interface to it. Then you can have people watch your wildlife with you. Be like, check out the wildlife. You could sell subscriptions. Welcome to Dennis's backyard.
Oh man.
I don't know. I'm spitballing here. All right.
I definitely got.
Oh, he says. Pardon me.
What's that? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just thinking that Dora and Cody probably want to get on this at some point.
Meh.
All right.
We could just invite them to Geeksters and just have a continuation.
Yeah. I'm done.
All right.
I've said all I got to say. I'm out of here.
All right. Thanks for uploading the stuff, Mitch.
I'm ready for Arch. Mess around with Arch again.
Arch. I think you said Orange.
I already spare PCs. I got to use, and I'm going to have to just use VirtualBox. Well, I guess I spare hard drives. So, all right, gentlemen. Good night. And it was
all
fun.
right.
Nice to be together again.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us on the live show. Bye.
Take care.